to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to
Rogues Crime Galleria,
the true crime podcast I know you all love. Well, probably at this point you do. Or if you don't, I hope you do. Anyway, I'm Todd H., your host, coming to you from a padded, air-conditioned room in the Sunshine State, a undisclosed location, of course. Anyway, tonight we're going to get into the life and legend of Billy the Kid. But before we do, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and you also hit the notification bell so you never miss a show, which are on consistently on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so at least that's something you can count on. But right now, let's get into it.
Okay, so we're diving deep today into the legend of Billy the Kid. You guys sent in a whole stack of stuff about him, and it looks like we've got everything from official archives to like full-on biographies. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it looks like we've even got some excerpts from Pat Garrett's book, you know, the sheriff who actually brought him down. Should give us a pretty interesting perspective on things.
Oh, for sure. And we've got a detailed timeline, too. This one's from the History Junkie. Plus, you know, the usual suspects, Wikipedia, some facts versus myth type pages. Lots to unpack here.
Definitely. So where do we even begin with someone like Billy the Kid? I mean, he's practically an American myth at this point.
Well, I guess the best place to start is always the beginning, right? Is early life. Both Wikipedia and Garrett's account mention his mom, Catherine McCarty.
Right, and after her first husband died, she moved around a bit, first to Indiana, then met this guy, William Henry Harrison Antrim. They ended up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and got married in 1873.
And get this, Wikipedia actually mentions that the McCarty boys, you know, Billy and his brother, they were witnesses at the wedding. Kind of a cool little detail.
It is, yeah. And it was around this time when they settled in Silver City that Joseph, as he was known then, started using the surname Antrim. It makes you wonder how close he was to his stepfather.
Yeah, maybe. But that family stability didn't last long, sadly. Wikipedia says Catherine died from tuberculosis just a year later, in 1874. And then, get this, Antrim just up and abandoned the boys, left them as orphans.
Wow, that's rough. You know, it's not hard to see how that kind of early trauma might lead someone down a difficult path.
Exactly. And the Billy the Kid biography that someone sent in, it picks up the story from there. It says his first run-in with the law was around age 15, got arrested for theft in Silver City.
But he didn't stay locked up for long, did he? Escaped to Arizona, if I remember correctly.
That's right. And that's where things get even more intense.
Right.
Both the biography and Garrett mention this altercation where he killed a blacksmith. Seems like the guy had been bullying him pretty bad.
Garrett actually says this happened in August of 1877, which would have made Bonnie, you know, that was his real name, a wanted man in Arizona. So back to New Mexico he went.
Yeah, already a killer at what, like 17 years old? It's pretty heavy stuff.
It is. Makes you think about the kind of life he must have led up to that point.
Okay, so back in New Mexico, Wikipedia mentions he gets involved in cattle rustling. And then things really escalate when he joins up with the Regulators during the Lincoln County War in 1878.
Oh yeah, the Lincoln County War. I mean, that was a whole other level of chaos. So the Regulators, they were basically a vigilante group, right?
Pretty much. They were fighting against, well, another faction that was basically controlling the local economy. Lots of bad blood there.
And things got really ugly really fast. Wikipedia goes into detail about some of those early incidents. Like, on March 9th, the Regulators captured and killed these two guys, Frank Baker and William Morton. They were connected to the murder of John Tunstall, who was kind of a leader figure for the Regulators.
Right, and then just a few weeks later, on April 1st, things get even worse. There was this ambush on Sheriff Brady and his deputies. And this one really hits home because Billy was actually wounded in the shootout.
Yeah, and Sheriff Brady, he was killed, along with Deputy Sheriff George Hindman. So now, Billy's wanted for murder.
Yeah, and it doesn't end there. Just 3 days later, another shootout, this time at Blazer's Mill. Buckshot Robbers and Dick Brewer, a leader of the Regulators, both died. Wikipedia even mentions that Billy was later charged with Robert's killing as well.
Man, it was just one thing after another. The whole territory was a powder keg.
It really was. And the Billy the Kid biography, it really dives into his reputation during this time. He's described as this fearless fighter, an incredible shot. There's even this quote from a journalist, Emerson who called him sheer inborn savagery. Like, that's a pretty intense statement.
Definitely paints a picture. You have to wonder, though, right? Was he really this cold-blooded killer, or was he just a product of his environment? I mean, the guy was practically raised in violence.
Good point. And it's interesting to think about his motivations for joining the Regulators. Was it about loyalty, some kind of twisted sense of justice, or was it just pure survival in that crazy, chaotic world?
Hard to say for sure. But one thing's for sure, his involvement in the Lincoln County War cemented his status as an outlaw.
Right, and that's where his notoriety really started to spread. Wikipedia points to December 1880, when stories about his alleged crimes started appearing in newspapers all over the country. Like, there's mentions of him in the Las Vegas Gazette and even the Sun in New York City. So he's not just a local problem anymore. He's national news.
Yeah, and it's not long after that Sheriff Pat Garrett finally catches up to him.
Right. Wikipedia says it was December of 1880 when Garrett made the arrest. And then in April of 1881, Billy was put on trial for the murder of Sheriff Brady. Found guilty, of course, and sentenced to hang in May.
So, game over, right? Well, not exactly. Because then we have the Great Escape.
Oh yeah, the escape. This is where things get really wild. April 28th, 1881. He breaks out of the Lincoln County Courthouse jail. Both Wikipedia and Garrett's book go into detail about how he pulled it off.
It's a pretty incredible story. Deputy Bob Olinger, he had taken some of the other prisoners out for a meal, leaving Billy alone with Deputy James Bell, and somehow Billy managed to slip out of his handcuffs.
Yeah, and then he hides in this dark room and basically ambushes Bell, hits him with the cuffs, grabs his gun, and shoots him. Just like that.
And it gets even crazier. He then breaks into Garrett's office, grabs Olinger's shotgun, and waits at the window. When Olinger comes back and sees what happened, Billy calls out to him, "Look up, old boy, and see what you get," then blasts him with the shotgun, cold.
And that's not all. He then uses an axe to get free of his leg irons, finds a horse, and rides out of town. Some stories even say he was singing as he rode away. It's like something straight out of a movie.
Talk about a legendary escape. And you know, that timeline from the History Junkie, it gives us this really interesting day-by-day account of his capture and those first few months in jail. It starts on December 24th, 1880, the day after he's caught.
Yeah, it says they took the prisoners to Fort Sumner, and then, get this, they had Christmas dinner at Padre Palaco's store. Can you imagine that? Christmas dinner with Billy the Kid.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then, that same night, they set off for Las Vegas. They got there the next day, and the timeline says there was a ton of public interest in Billy, but also a lot of hostility toward another prisoner, Dave Rudabaugh. Apparently, he wasn't too popular in town.
Right. And then, on December 27th, they put them on a train to Santa Fe. More crowds, more chaos. The History Junkie really captures the atmosphere of the time.
Absolutely. And once they're in Santa Fe, Billy actually writes a letter to Governor Lew Wallace asking for a meeting. This is on New Year's Day, 1881.
But it didn't go anywhere, right?
Yeah. Nope. The governor was out of town, and then about a month later, Billy tries to escape again. This time, it doesn't work, and he ends up in solitary confinement.
It just shows how determined he was to get free. But, you know, after that Lincoln escape, there were all these rumors that he actually survived. Like that Garrett didn't really kill him.
Yeah, Wikipedia even has a whole section about those rumors. It's fascinating how they persisted for so long. What do you think? Wishful thinking. Or maybe some people just didn't want to believe the legend was over.
Maybe a bit of both.
Mm.
And it wasn't just talk either. There were actually efforts to prove or disprove those rumors. Wikipedia mentions that in 2004, there was a push to exhume his mother's remains for DNA testing. But as of 2012, it hadn't happened.
And then there was that lawsuit in 2007 about access to DNA and forensic evidence. Didn't really go anywhere, though. Just goes to show how much mystery still surrounds him.
Yeah, and then there was that petition in 2015 for a death certificate. It's like people still can't quite let go of the possibility that he might have gotten away.
Speaking of letting go, it's incredible to think that there's only one authenticated photograph of him. It's the one known as the Diedrich Ferrotype.
Right, it's from around 1879 or 1880, and it shows him holding a Winchester rifle. You know, that picture sold for over $2 million at auction in 2011?
Wow, that's crazy. And then there's that other photo, the croquet tin type. There's a lot of debate about whether it's actually him or not. Experts are kind of divided on it.
Yeah, some folks at the Lincoln State Monument and the Palace of the Governor's Archives, they're pretty skeptical. They say there are inconsistencies in the photo compared to known locations and stuff. And even True West magazine isn't totally convinced.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces, but that's part of what makes this whole story so intriguing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Pat Garrett's book, The Authentic Life of Billy the Kid. It's interesting because Garrett himself admits in the preface that he wants to set the record straight. He says a lot of the stuff written about Billy before was inaccurate or just plain exaggerated.
Of course, we have to remember that Garrett was the one who killed Billy, so there's definitely potential for bias in his account.
Right, but it still provides valuable insights. Like, he describes Billy's mom, Catherine, as this well-educated, refined woman. And he talks about how close Billy was to her. He also mentions how much Billy hated his stepfather, claimed the guy was cruel, and that's why he ran away from home.
It's interesting that Garrett tries to offer those explanations, even though he was the one who ended up hunting Billy down, almost like he's trying to humanize him, you know?
Yeah, maybe. And Garrett even talks about Billy's personality. He says he was actually kind of shy and quiet, but with a really bad temper. He wasn't a braggart or anything, but you definitely didn't want to cross him.
There's definitely a sense of complexity there, right? It's not just black and white, good guy, bad guy.
Exactly. And Garrett tells this really intense story about when Billy was around 12 years old. Apparently, this guy insulted his mom, and Billy just snapped, stabbed the eye multiple times. Garrett says that was a turning point for Billy, like that's when he really went down the wrong path.
I mean, it's a brutal story, but it also kind of reinforces that idea that he was fiercely protective of his mom.
Right. And Garrett even says that Billy's respect for his mom carry over into his treatment of women in general. He claims that Billy always treated good women with respect, which is kind of surprising considering his lifestyle.
Maybe Garrett's trying to soften his image a bit. Or maybe there was more to Billy than just the outlaw persona.
It's hard to know for sure. But then Garrett goes on to describe Billy's early crimes, like stealing his first horse in Arizona and meeting up with a partner. And he even tells this really disturbing story about Billy killing 3 Apache Indians for their belongings.
Yeah, Garrett even includes Billy's justification for it, which is pretty chilling. It just reminds you of how harsh life was back then and how easily violence could erupt.
Definitely. And Garrett goes on to talk about Billy's time as a gambler, mostly in Arizona. He even mentions a horse race Billy had with some Native Americans. And then there's the killing of this guy, Don Jose Martinez, in Sonora, Mexico. Apparently, it was over a gambling dispute. That's the one that forced Billy to flee Mexico.
Garrett really emphasizes Billy's skill with a gun in that story. Says he was incredibly fast, which just added to his reputation as someone you didn't want to mess with.
Then there's the whole chase after the Sonora killing, with Mexican authorities trying to track him down. Garrett says he eventually made it back to the U.S.
And Garrett even mentions another killing, this time in Chihuahua City, with a Monte dealer, but he doesn't go into much detail about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a passing mention, but it's another reminder of the violence that seemed to follow Billy everywhere.
So we've got this image of Billy as this hardened killer, but Garrett actually challenges that a bit. He says that at 17, Billy didn't have a mean or cruel look about him. Instead, he describes him as polite, even charming.
He says Billy had this easy smile, and that you could only really see his anger in his eyes. And he insists that Billy wasn't some foul-mouthed brute. He was often quite courteous, apparently.
Interesting. It's almost like Garrett's trying to paint a more nuanced picture of the man rather than just the one-dimensional outlaw figure.
Yeah, and he even describes how Billy dressed. Black frock coat, dark pants and vest, nice boots, and a Mexican sombrero. Not exactly the scruffy outlaw you might picture.
It just goes to show how complicated this whole story is and how hard it is to separate fact from fiction. And, you know, those user comments on the Billy the Kid biography page, they really add to that complexity.
Oh yeah, those are great. Like Clifford Randall's, he really questions a lot of the accepted narrative. He's skeptical about the number of killings attributed to Billy and whether he was really a leader of any gang.
He even suggests that Pat Garrett might have embellished his own role in the story to make himself look better.
Right. And Randalls also points out that the Lincoln County War was pretty short, so it's questionable whether Billy would have even had time to do all the things he's accused of.
It really makes you think about who to believe and how much of what we know about Billy the Kid is actually true.
Absolutely. And then there's that comment from Robin Aubrey Mills about Billy's stepfather, William Antrim. Apparently, he was this champion horseman who even won a big race in England back in 1837.
It's a fascinating detail. It kind of connects Billy's family to this whole other world, far away from the Wild West.
Yeah, it just shows how much there is to uncover,
Yeah.
how much we still don't know about Billy the Kid and his life.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. From his troubled childhood to his violent escapades, his legendary escape, and the lingering mystery surrounding his death.
It's clear that the story of Billy the Kid is more than just a simple tale of an outlaw. It's a story about survival, about loyalty, about violence and justice in a lawless land. And ultimately, it's a story that continues to fascinate us over 100 years later.
And what's so interesting is that we've got all these different perspectives on him. Official records, personal accounts, even those modern-day comments and discussions. It's like trying to piece together a giant puzzle, but with some pieces missing.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final thought for today. Given all these conflicting accounts, the passage of time, and the biases that might exist in some of these sources, how much of the legend of Billy the Kid is actually based on solid historical fact? And how much is just folklore, myth, or even intentional embellishment?
It's a question worth pondering. What makes someone a legend? Is it their actions, or is it the stories we tell about them?
Great questions. And I guess that's the beauty of history, right? It's always open to interpretation.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the life of Billy the Kid. Hope you guys found it as interesting as we did.
Yeah, thanks for sending in all the great source material. It's been a wild ride.
And remember, keep those deep dive requests coming. We'll be back soon to explore another corner of history, fueled by your curiosity.
Well, that was a good one. I'm your host, Todd H., and I want to give extra special thanks to my co-hosts, Eli Stone and Nora Steele. They did a great job. I loved hearing the story about old Billy. Anyway, that's it for tonight, so we'll see you next time
On Rogues Crime Galleria.
Step inside. Don't look back. Every shadow's got a name. From the alleys where the cold steel sings to the suits with blood on diamond rings, ghosts of power, greed, and flame. Every legend leaves a stain. Whispers crawl through history's halls, mugshots hanging on haunted walls. Outlaws riding, empires fall. You're one step from it all. Truth gets buried, lies get tall, but we're the ones who hear the call. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time, we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Ponzi kings with a silver grin, my boss deals in a world of sin. Six gun smoke in a desert sky, another outlaw lives a lie. Cold case files and a killer's code, buried truths on a broken road. Every story that chills your spine, we bring it back to life. No escape when the truth gets loud, faces staring from the crowd. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time, we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Every name carved in the night, every wrong dressed up is right. If you listen, you'll hear them breathe in the gallery. They never leave. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria. Step inside, don't you falter. Every sin, every twisted mind, we expose what you won't find.